When looking at the future of ID, I see a strong emphasis being placed on incorporating gamification into various designs. Regardless of age, generally most people enjoy playing games, and this ideology of integrating gamification can be used when designing programs. In a study done by MPD, 73% of Americans aged 2 and above play video games. Whether participants are learning new skills through gamification or simply reinforcing previous learned skills, the fundamental principle can have a tremendous impact on learning. Gamification is not something entirely new. As Dee states, Dmitry Mendeleev was a Russian scientist and educator in the 19th century who is often credited as the scientist that first published the periodic table of elements. However, what people do not know is that he may have been one of the first scientists to use gamification to complete an educational task. Deese explains that the engagement levels and entertainment values of video gaming can motivate users to accomplish tasks that are normally viewed as boring, such as learning. He also mentions that gamification is the act of using game elements to make non-games more enjoyable. As Gutierrez states, gamifying learning, above most things, provides a focus once attention is captured and inspired. It acts on multiple senses for an immersive experience that increases our enjoyment and desire to achieve goals. Integrating gamification into the learning environment can motivate students to engage in the objective even further. This will allow kinesthetic and visual learners to reach their full potential. It is also a wonderful opportunity to reinforce previous learned skills. I am not a second language teacher. However, my son is in grade 1 French immersion and his teacher constantly sends home different games to assist with learning. I have watched the impact it has had on his learning firsthand and the results have been incredible. Homework at one time used to be a real challenge, but with the integration of gamification, he is motivated to do it. Flores mentions the gamification of education is gaining support among educators who recognize that effectively designed games can stimulate large gains in productivity and creativity among learners. There is a difference in having students simply play games and using gamification to enhance learning. Like throwing technology at a problem, tossing a game at a problem is also not a viable solution. You need to look at the learning objectives thoroughly and determine if gamification will enhance the outcome. Silva adds, you can add game mechanics to existing assets in order to give your learners extra motivation to access your learning content that otherwise isn't exactly a game. Like anything, you need to have balance in education. You cannot gamify all objectives as it will not prepare students for the future. Upper-end high school courses, college and university, as well as places of employment do not use just a gamification approach, if at all. Gamification is not designed to be a time filler. It needs to engage students and make the learning meaningful. When instructional designers develop programs, the gamification needs to add an overall value. It can be overwhelming to simply dive into using gamification. It is important to have structure and a plan in place if you are about to use gamification in an e-learning context. Sharma uses a 7-step approach in designing e-learning through gamification. Step 1, define your goals and learning objectives. Step 2, develop a detailed outline. Step 3, choose the ideal e-learning activities and assessments. Step 4, gather your assets. Step 5, select the best gameplay approach. Step 6, set the scene. And step 7, measure your results. An excellent example of using gamification in the learning environment for formative assessment is a program called Kahoot. Kahoot is a game-based learning platform used as educational technologies in schools and other educational institutions. Its learning games, Kahoots, are user-generated multiple-choice quizzes that can be accessed via a web browser or the Kahoot app. Kahoot can be used to review students' knowledge for formative assessment or as a break from traditional classroom activities. Kahoot also includes trivia quizzes. Evaluation and measuring results will be fundamental in determining whether the gamification integration was successful or not. IDs should gather baseline data of previous performance without gamification and then the results after using it. You will need to be aware of the success of the program and be ready to make changes if needed. When you think of behavior characteristics of an individual, do you think they would be more motivated to conduct a task through gamification or not? Looking at a publication from Deese, she identifies 5 benefits of gamification. 1. Gamification aids in cognitive development in adolescence. 2. In some cases, it aids in physical development. 3. Gamification increases level of engagement in classrooms. 4. Gamification aids in accessibility in the classroom. And 5. Gamification isn't limited to the classroom. Using gamification to aid in cognitive development is extremely important. If students are learning regardless if it is through a game-based approach, it is triggering various regions of the brain for increased development. Using gamification to aid with physical development is something I used in my practice while I was teaching primary phys ed. I brought in a Nintendo Wii for a student who was reluctant to participate, and it was a trigger to get him moving and engaging in physical activity. Gamification is an area that I have found has had a significant impact on my classroom. Yes, it varies by class composition each year. However, when I see students on the edge of their seats with their hands waving frantically to answer a question about a learning objective through gamification, I know that it is increasing engagement. Yes, I am sure that the topic of gamification can be debated and critiqued, but personally, I have found it to be a rock star for some of my students. There is not a single teaching method that will accommodate all learners. Teachers need to figure out how their students learn best, and if it's through technology and gamification, then by all means use it.